Welcome to my revision of the book I wrote to teach homeschoolers world history. A Bible believer looks for world history, which I sell on Amazon. I'm going to go back to China now, picking up from yesterday. Moving to China for a moment. It's at this time in the history where I'm talking about where the Shang dynasty is supposed to sit in Chinese history. Now, first, I'm speaking from Durant here. There's a period of legendary rulers clouded in obscurity and lost in the mists of time. And then in the late third millennium, according to traditional historians, there began the reign of Fu Xi, Shen Nung, the first Wang Ti, Yao Shun, the Xia dynasty, Yu, Qie Kui, and then in the second half of the second millennium, the Shang. Now, remembering that the historical record can easily show, rather than consecutive rulers of a place, a list of rulers who reigned concurrently at the same time, you need to look critically at the way in which these reigns are dated. One belief of the origin of the Chinese was about the first man, Pan Ku, after working for 18,000 years to make the universe, finally accomplished the task in 2,229,000 BC, as is estimated. As he worked, his breath became the wind in the clouds, his voice became the thunder, his veins the rivers, his flesh the earth, his hair the grass and the trees, his bones the metals, his sweat the rain, and the insects that clung to his body became the human race. Now, the earliest kings, the Chinese said, ruled 18,000 years each and struggled hard to turn Pan Ku's lice into civilized men. Before the arrival of these celestial emperors, the people were supposedly like animals, eating raw flesh and knowing their mothers but not their fathers. Then came Emperor Fu Xi, who, with his queen, taught human beings marriage, music, writing, painting, fishing with nets, the domestication of animals, and the feeding of silkworms. He appointed Shen Nung upon his death, who introduced agriculture. Then Wang Ti, whose reign lasted only a century rather than thousands of years, introduced the magnet and the wheel, building the first brick buildings and the first observatory. Yao was such a good ruler that Confucius lamented that there was a golden age during his reign that China had fallen from over the centuries. Shun created the calendar and standardized weights and measures. Yu, great engineer, mirrors the great banker of Egypt fame who saves the Chinese from floods and establishes the Xia, first civilized dynasty. The Emperor Che makes 3,000 Chinese jump to their death in a lake of wine. Chu Xin, inventor of chopsticks, brings the dynasty to an end. Now, Western invaders founded the Chu dynasty, which overthrew Chu Xin. What is clear is that the feudal states that developed arose from isolated agricultural communities, weak, each weak one being absorbed by a stronger neighbor until a handful fought for power. According to ancient tradition, before the Chu dynasty was the Shang. One of the Shang emperors, Wu Yi, was an atheist who defied the gods, blasphemed the spirit of heaven, and played chess with it, eventually being killed by a bolt of lightning. In keeping with Satan's worldwide counterfeiting of the promise of the virgin birth of Christ in Genesis 3:15, the Jesuit missionaries were astonished to find in China the Holy Mother, Xing Mu, being pictured with a child in her arms and glory around her as if she had been painted by a Roman Catholic artist. So we'll stop there and talk about we're going to talk about Joseph and Moses here coming up. Let me continue. There's something I wanted to let you know. From Alexander Hislop's controversial book, The Two Babylons, we have this quote. The name of Xingmu applied by the Chinese to their Holy Mother, compared with another name of the same goddess in another province of China, strongly favors the conclusion that Xingmu is just a synonym for one of the well-known names of the goddess mother of Babylon. Now, Gillespie, who wrote a book called Land of Sinim, states that the Chinese goddess mother or queen of heaven in the province of Fujian is worshipped by seafaring people under the name of Ma Supu. Now, Ama Supa signifies the gazing mother, and there is much reason to believe that Xingmu signifies the same, for Mu was one of the forms in which Mut or Maut, the name of the great mother, appeared in Egypt. And Xing in Chaldee signifies to look or gaze. It should be of interest to compare the involvement of the sons of God, little s, lowercase s, with humankind in Genesis 6 in the worldwide legends of heavenly visitors giving special knowledge to people. We'll talk about Joseph and Moses next. So I hope if you watch this, you'll click like and subscribe or follow. Thank you.